This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, students. Am I audible to you? Sia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, today's topic, bloodstream infections. So, this is topic under applied microbiology. Applied or clinical microbiology, very, very important for you. So, definition of bloodstream infections are, these are presence of microorganisms in the blood which are a threat to every organ in the body. So because of the presence of microorganisms in blood, they leads to so many complications, serious illness. For example, shock, multiple organ failure, and disseminated intravascular coagulopathies. These are major complications with bloodstream infections. So if we detect early, it is safe to patient. But if detection is delayed, what happen? It leads to very serious complications like shock. So early detection of causative agents is one of the most important role of microbiology lab. Okay. So all four group of organisms, I mean bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites can cause bloodstream infections. Especially major bloodstream infections are caused by bacteria. Means major infections are bacterial origin. So in this situation, you should know the definitions of two important words. One is bacteremia and second one is septicemia. What is bacteremia? You should able to differentiate between bacteremia and septicemia. Bacteremia means presence of bacteria in the blood. Just presence of bacteria in the blood without any active multiplication. Just presence. Okay, is called bacteremia. Very, very important. Just presence of bacteria in the blood without any active multiplication is called bacteremia. So what is septicemia? Septicemia means presence of actively multiplying, okay, actively multiplying bacteria in blood called septicemia. So in case of septicemia, bacteria in blood actively multiply and release their products, example toxins, and cause severe and serious illness. Okay, this is the difference between bacteremia and septicemia. So here three types of bacteremia are there. First one is transient bacteremia, second one is continuous bacteremia, and third one is intermittent bacteremia. So transient bacteremia, name itself indicate transient. It is a very minor one, temporary. Okay, this one is very temporary. It occurs spontaneously with minor events like rough brushing of teeth, chewing of food, and some instrumentation of contaminated mucosal site and surgery involving non-sterile site. Okay, this transient bacteremia occurs in following conditions. Next, continuous bacteremia. So presence of bacteria in the blood is continuous. So this is because of the organisms are released into the bloodstream at a very constant rate. Okay, mainly this continuous bacteremia occurs in the following conditions like septic shock, endocarditis, and other endovascular infections. And we can see this continuous bacteremia in early stages of some infections like enteric fever, brucellosis, and leptospirosis. Next, intermittent bacteria. This is the most common type we can see in many infections. Okay, in this type, bacteria are released into the circulation intermittently. Okay, mainly in case of meningitis, pneumonia, and some pyogenic arthritis and osteomyelitis. Okay, we can see this intermittent bacteremia in these infections. In case of undrained abscess, bacteria are released approximately 45 minutes before a febrile episode. So, this is the most common type. We can see this intermittent bacteremia in most infections. Next, definition of septicemia. We already discussed septicemia means it is a condition in which bacteria circulate and actively multiply and release their products. Example, toxins. So, actively multiplying bacteria in blood are called septicemia. Next, factors contribute to the initiation of bloodstream infections. So common factors like immunosuppression conditions and use of broad spectrum antimicrobial agents. Because of the overusage of these broad spectrum antimicrobial agents, this can suppress the normal flora and allow the entry of resistant strains of bacteria and cause bloodstream infections. And invasive procedures or extensive surgeries that allow the bacteria to access the blood and prolonged survival of debilitated patients. All these factors contribute to the initiation of bloodstream infections. Next, types of bloodstream infections. There are two major types of bloodstream infections. Number one, intravascular, two, extravascular. So name itself indicate intravascular means the source of infection is from internal, intravascular from intravascular means source, and the source of infection is from the inside. Intravascular means cardiac system, mainly intravascular. Extravascular means the source of infection is from outside. So intravascular bloodstream infections. So those that originate within the cardiovascular system. Okay, the infection, those that originate within the cardiovascular system are called intravascular bloodstream infections. So examples, infective endocarditis, mycotic aneurysm, suppurative thrombophlebitis. Next, another important one, intravenous catheter associated bacteremia. So all these infections, if untreated, lead to continuous bacteremia, which result into serious and life-threatening events. Okay, very important, intravascular bloodstream infections. Among all these, most common infections are infective endocarditis and intravenous catheter associated bacteremia. Next, what is infective endocarditis? Okay, it is the infection of endocardium characterized by presence of vegetation, means which is composed of mass of platelets, fibrin, microcolonies of organisms, and scanty inflammatory cells. Okay, this is called endocarditis. Simply, infection of endocardium. Next, agents responsible for endocarditis. Very important. These are streptococci, especially Virions group of streptococci, and some extent other streptococci also, pneumococci, enterococci, and staphylococcus aureus, coagulase negative staphylococcus, and some fastidious group of gram negative coccobacilli. Hastic group means Hastic group contains Haemophilus. H means Haemophilus parainfluenza. Next, A means Aggregatibacter species. C means Cardiobacterium hominis. E means Echinella corradens, and K means Kingella kingi. Okay, these five are called hastic group. These are also cause endocarditis. Next, some other gram-negative bacilli. Next, fungal Candida species, diphtheroids, and some culture-negative endocarditis causing agents are Bartonella and Coxiella species. Next, extravascular bloodstream infections. Okay, so extravascular means source or origin of bacteria from outside. Most cases of clinically significant bacteremia are of extravascular origin. Okay, the organisms multiply at the site of primary site, such as at the primary site means mainly in lungs and driven by lymphatics and reach the bloodstream. Then in bloodstream they multiply more widely and causing septicemia. So there are so many routes for portal of entry. The most common portal of entry for bacteremia are, first one is genitourinary tract, and then followed by respiratory tract, then abscess, then surgical site wound infections, and least portal of entry. I mean, is it contribute only 5%, that is biliary tract. All these are the different portal of entry for extravascular bloodstream infections. So agents that are responsible for extravascular bloodstream infections are uh, E. coli, Escherichia coli, and other gram-negative bacteria such as Klebsiella proteus, Enterobacter. Mean these all belongs to Enterobacteriaceae family and Pseudomonas. Their portal of entry by urinary tract and intestine very rarely. Common tract is urinary tract. Then Haemophilus influenzae B. Portal of entry and sources are meninges, epiglottis, and lungs. Then pneumococcus by meninges and lungs. Then Brucella species by reticuloendothelial system. Then Salmonella typhi by small intestine, lymph nodes, and reticuloendothelial system. Then Listeria species by intestine and meninges. Then Staphylococcus aureus and other coagulase negative staphylococci by surgical site infections. Means source of infection here is surgical site infection. Next, clinical manifestations. We can see clinical features during the septicemic stage only. So during this stage, what happened? Bacteria multiply and releasing their products, especially toxins, so that we can see the clinical manifestations at this stage only. This stage is called septicemic stage. Then symptoms are fever or hypothermia with or without chills. Then because of the hyperventilation leads to excess loss of carbon dioxide and subsequent respiratory alkalosis. Then in case of in some patients, we can see the skin lesions, change of mental status, and diarrhea also. All these are the clinical manifestations of bloodstream infections. And another important clinical manifestation is septic shock. This is the gravest, means very serious late stage complication of septicemia. It is characterized by hypotension and disseminated intravascular coagulopathy, and it leads to multi-organ failure. So, leading to acute respiratory distress, renal failure, and tissue destruction. Then, the endotoxins of gram-negative bacteria have a direct effect on the pathogenesis of septic shock. That's why this is also called endotoxic shock. Next, coming to the laboratory diagnosis. So, here, in case of bloodstream infections, laboratory diagnosis, sample collection is very, very important. Okay, here specimen collection, timing of collection, this is common for all the culture samples. Blood should be collected before the starting of antimicrobial therapy. Okay, this is common. Next site is usually antecubital vein. Next, preparation of site, skin should be treated with 70% isopropyl alcohol. Then antiseptic should be applied. Common antiseptics we are using here are tincture iodine or chlorohexidine. Then we see the blood volume. Please remember this point, blood volume, because in future you have to guide the nurses involved. So blood volume for adult at least 8 to 10 ml. Please remember, for adults 8 to 10 ml required. For pediatrics, mean children 1 to 3 ml. Very, very important point. So this is the cubital vein, cubital fossa. Next, number of blood cultures. This depends on the type of bacteremia. In case of continuous bacteremia, single blood culture is enough. In other situations like intermediate bacteremia and transient bacteremia, 2 to 3 blood cultures are required. Next, culture medium. Blood culture broths in bottles are the recommended media, mainly brain heart infusion agar and brain heart infusion broth. Brain heart infusion agar means it is in solid state, broth means it is in liquid state. Here we can use two types of media. Monophasic medium means mono means single, monophasic. It is in only one stage, that is liquid stage. It contains 50 to 100 ml of brain heart infusion broth. So then second one is Castaneda's or biphasic medium. It is also called biphasic medium or Castaneda's biphasic medium. This is very important spotter for you. It consists of bi means two. In single bottle, two phases are there: liquid stage, solid stage. It consists of brain heart infusion, agar slow, and broth. Okay, 50 to 100 ml of broth. So dilution of blood and media here is 1:5 dilution. Here another important ingredient is SPS, sodium polyenethyl sulfonate. This is acts as the anticoagulant and also act against bactericidal action of blood. Okay, so see here, this is the monophasic medium, brain heart infusion broth. This is biphasic medium, contain both phases. This is the slope of brain heart infusion agar, means it is in solid state. This is liquid state. Next, coming to the inoculation and incubation. So from the beginning of the sample collection, we have to follow the strict aseptic conditions. So fresh blood is directly injected in at the bedside through the rubber cap. Okay, directly injected into the bottle through the rubber cap without open. So we can prevent the contamination. This sample should be incubated at 37 degrees for up to 7 days. So repeat subcultures. From monophasic medium, we have to repeat the subcultures because media is in single phase. So repeat the subcultures are made onto the blood agar and McConkey agar. When the broth becomes, so these subcultures are made when the broth becomes turbid or periodically for 1 week. So because of these repeated subcultures, there is a risk of contamination due to the opening of the cap of the bottle for every subculture. So this with this monophasic medium, there is more chance of contamination. Coming to the biphasic medium, this is most preferable method for blood cultures. So subcultures can be made just by tilting the bottle so that the broth runs over the slope, okay, slope of agar. Then bottle is incubated in the upright position. Okay, if organisms are present, colonies appear over the agar slant. So colonies are picked up and used for the further identification. Okay, further identification is by biochemical colony morphology, gram staining, biochemical reaction, and serological test. Coming to the antimicrobial susceptibility testing. This is by disk diffusion method. We are commonly using Kirby-Boyer disk diffusion method, but in case of endocarditis, determining the minimum inhibitory concentration is very important. Is the ideal method because of the, especially for penicillin group of drugs. Okay, this is about bloodstream infections, very small topic and important one. Let's summarize once. So bloodstream infections are very dangerous. These are the presence of microorganisms in blood and leads to life-threatening conditions, especially they leads to shock, multiple organ failure, and disseminated intravascular coagulopathies. Two important definitions: bacteremia, presence of bacteria in the blood without any multiplication. Septicemia means presence of actively multiplying bacteria in blood. Okay, then bacteremia is three types: transient bacteremia, it is occurs spontaneously and this is minor one; continuous bacteremia; then intermittent bacteremia. Intermittent means this is the most common type. We can see this type of bacteremia in most infections. Next, there are two important types of bloodstream infections: intravascular, extravascular. In intravascular, important one, infective endocarditis and catheter-associated bacteremia. So, agents responsible for endocarditis are streptococci, pneumococci, staphylococcus aureus, and Hassi group of bacteria. Next, extravascular infections. Sources from outside. Portal of entry. The most common portals of entry of bacteremia are genitourinary tract, respiratory tract, abscess, surgical site wound infections, and biliary tract. Then agents responsible for this extravascular bloodstream infections are mainly gram-negative bacteria. Next, clinical manifestations are only we can see at the stage of septicemic. Septic shock is a serious late-stage complication of septicemia. This septic shock characterized by hypotension, disseminated intravascular coagulopathy, and multi-organ failure. So, specimen collection site is at cubital fossa. Preparation of skin also very important. Should be treated with 70% isopropyl alcohol. So here time also very important. For adults, it is 8 to 10 ml at least. For pediatric, 1 to 3 ml. So these are monophasic and biphasic media. So this is about bloodstream infections.